Customization. We need lots of it. We need quite a bit more than we got in Need for Speed 2015. We got a decent amount, in my opinion, and obviously it grew as they released updates for the game. But then there wasn't as much as I would want in the future Need for Speed. Obviously, I would always want them to add more. As I said, personally, I would like to see 10 or 20 more cars added to the game. Probably around 20 would be a fairer option. 20 cars, but also adding upgrades for all the previous cars. A lot more upgrades need to be added to the game in many different areas. And not only just extra parts, but new things I would like to see, which I'm going to list in this video. This list is mostly my thoughts, but I also trinkle in a few of you guys in the comments section on the previous videos we've done on this, your thoughts into the whole customization of things when it comes to Need for Speed. So I guess it is kind of a good thing that you jumped the gun, some of you, but bloody stop it. Let me know in the comments in this video what you want to see in Need for Speed customization-wise, alright? Stop jumping the gun, for God's sake. The obvious step is more parts, right? We want to see more parts, whether it be side skirts, bumpers, wings, whatever. I don't care if it's official stuff or if it's ghost stuff. Now, they made a massive push in this game for it to be very much only official stuff for the majority of it, and then they added some ghost stuff afterwards. Personally, now, I like the idea that they wanted to go, you know, actual body kits, but I would love to see some fake stuff in there as well, because let's be honest, people can make their own stuff. It's some of the stuff, for example, a splitter is a very simple thing to craft. You can very much craft it out of ABS plastic, for example. So what I would like to see is more ghost parts, more generic ghost parts. So it's like 20 ghost wings that are pretty much available on all cars. Don't go Forza route and do like 1 or 2 wings. I mean, literally every car needs to have these options in my view. Along with the more customizations, I want to see at least one big full body kit per car. And what I mean is, don't do a very, very slight thing. I mean, even the Ferrari and that sort of thing should have at least one big body kit. Now, obviously, I would much prefer those body kits to be Liberty Walk and Rocket Bunny. But if you could make a Liberty Walk and Rocket Bunny body kit on a car and then a ghost one, I'm all for that. But the ghost body kit would have to be different from the body parts. Just putting that out there. I think the best way to describe it is each car that is added to the game should have at least, in my opinion, 4 bumpers, 4 skirts, 4 whatever. You get the idea. At least 4 of everything, and the wings should be just generic wings that all fit on most cars anyway. So yeah, and also ghost chassis mount. Please, that would be amazing. I guess a little sidetrack from that is something I would love to see is I know I'm going to get shouted out for saying this, but I want paid DLC. And the reason I want that is because if you get paid DLC, the money you spend on that goes towards whatever needed to spend on. For example, the people that make the kits or that make the body parts or make the cars in the game, but also the manufacturers as well. So the more expensive manufacturers will be like, okay, that's where most of the money goes when you buy DLC, in my view. Like they pay the license, and then they recover from the license by using the DLC money. Anyway, point is, I want paid DLC, I want paid car packs, and if we do car packs, let's say we'll have 2 or 3, I'd say 3 or 4, okay, let's say 3 or 4 good cars. And what I would like to see is body parts for those cars included in the pack. Like ridiculous, crazy body parts. Maybe some of them ridiculously stupid because the license is so open and saying that, like, it's not Ferrari's not going to let you put on like 1 million body kits. But the point is, the smaller manufacturers might be like, well, there's the license and you can do whatever the hell you want with it. And then they can go to town and make the stupidest things ever. In 2015, we had the ability to change the spacing of the wheels, so we could bring them out a little bit, bring them in a little bit. Wasn't massively customizable. I wish there was a little bit more, so go back to the each individual car when you get the time to do so, and make it so we can bring them out further for cars that can do it, because some of the cars were still really tucked. You know, the wheels were tucked in when they could have been out a bit more and looked really, really cool. But carrying on from that, I would like to see not just that, but tire width upgrade. So don't just do spacers, do tire width upgrade, because some cars, when you actually saw them like fly up in the air, like flying, you see the little tiny wheels poke out and you're like, for God's sake, that's disgusting, stop it. So I want to see some proper tire width upgrades, so proper beefy ones, you know, beef. Whether that would be visual or performance, that's up to Ghost. I can't really comment on what I would prefer, because quite honestly, I don't really care which way it goes, except I mean, I would like the ability to have thick tires and not really change the performance of my car, but at the same time, I wouldn't really care too much if it didn't change too much. I don't know. It's a difficult one to really discuss. More rims would be great, and I like the way Forza does it, except it should be a bit more organized. The rim management, in where you should have, you know, normal kind of, say there's like less spoke rims, like 5 spoke or around 5 spoke, then there should be like 1,000,000 spoke rims, and then there should be deep dish. That's how you should categorize rims, in my opinion. Just make it a bit more organized. That the rims menu was kind of a little bit messy on Need for Speed 2015, so something like that, in where it's like a specific category for each type of rim. That would be awesome. I stole this one from Straight Up Hippo. He actually suggested, if you want to know who he is, check him out, link in the description. Basically, he suggested that the police scanner from Need for Speed Most Wanted, when you would go near cops, it would start blinking at the top of the screen, and you'd hear like the blinking noise. What I want to see is that, and what he wants to see is that, and you basically upgrade that, and it increases the range of it. So that would be pretty cool. I quite like that. But if you were going to, like, one thing I was thinking of for Need for Speed would be pretty cool is actually hidden cop cars or undercover cop cars that literally lurk at the side of the road like you get in the US. Like they're allowed to hide in the US, which is kind of scary. But maybe they wouldn't be able to be tracked, you know, that kind of thing. Or maybe like upgrading it would be able to track those specific ones. You know, it's quite interesting what you could do with that, and it's a very, like, it doesn't, in my view, take that much to do. So I think it'll be a pretty cool thing to add. Before we get into this part right here, which is probably one of my biggest things that I want, the biggest thing that I really want to see in the next game is obviously linked to the handling. Now, the handling wasn't so great in Need for Speed 2015. I mean, to be honest, the more you play it, the more I'm like, okay, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. People are really judgmental over the handling and saying it's like the worst handling ever. Honestly, if you play it for more than 10 minutes, then it's piss. But it does need to change. I'm not saying it doesn't need to change. It does need to change. It needs to be better. I would say, as I've said many times before, the handling I would like to see is more like classic Need for Speed but updated. And the way to possibly describe that, the best way to describe it I've probably found, is that if you have the hot rod, which handles awesome by the way, you have the hot rod and you have some normal drifty car, somewhere in between is your base. That should be your base, you know? Basically, those in the middle of those two would be bang on perfect in my view. How you can accomplish that, I don't know, because I don't know how you set it up, but something like that would be pretty awesome. But that leads me on to all of these things right here that I'm about to explain. Tuning. Now, tuning in the last game was okay. It definitely changed the characteristics of the car. You definitely felt it, and I like that a lot. But I want to see a little bit more of a change when it comes to the tuning. Now, I'm not just talking about a bigger difference, but I'm also talking about actual performance changes in here that should be done. Gear ratios. Gear ratios was something that has been done in previous Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005 to Carbon to Pro Street, whatever. There was a slider. You could just pause the game on Most Wanted. I don't want to be able to do that. I want to have to go to a tuner, by the way. That would be cool. Having like a separate tuner shop or whatever. That would be awesome. Anyway, back to the point. The gear ratio slider should be short gears on the lower end of the spectrum. Short gears, but means it accelerates faster. On the higher end, it means higher top speed, slower acceleration. In the middle, obviously, it's just going to be in the middle. So you should be able to notch it between, like, I don't know, 10 points. Between those 10 points, you would just find that some cars perform better in certain areas, just for the fact that maybe one car should drag car, and you would use it for short drag races, which means you only have a short gear setup really and a little bit of top speed. Whereas if you're doing like long haul races, maybe you want the middle. There will be ways to, you know, match each class to a certain type of driving style. For example, drifting, in some cases, maybe long gears might actually do better in some people's drift builds, especially cars with a lot of torque and a lot of power all over the spectrum, you know? NOS tuning should be back again. So, for example, the lower end of the spectrum should be in short, more powerful NOS. To the right, longer, weaker NOS. In the middle, you get the idea. When you put on a wing, like on the previous Need for Speed, you should be able to tune more or less downforce, but it should have more of a significant effect on the fact that the car should feel more gripped to the road when you accelerate. Not when you just stood still overall, but when you're actually going at speed, that's when the feel should kick in. So when someone puts a lot of downforce on a drift build, it doesn't necessarily work amazingly in their favor because it tries to grip and lock up and doesn't drift as well as if someone was in the middle or someone that was on the loose end would like fly and have no control of it at all. But I don't want to have to remove the wing to remove downforce, you know? I want that to be a visual upgrade, but it unlocks the performance tuning upgrade. A little kind of side bit here, which doesn't really need to be a thing. I don't really care, but I thought it would be pretty cool. As when you're actually going around tuning these options, so like the downforce showing the wing, that sort of thing. It'll be like the side menu like it is on the current game, but it will like whip around the car as you're tuning each thing. So for the tires grip wise, it will whip to the tire and show you, or maybe like a little demo car showing you like on like a dyno, or like the air going over it, like aerodynamics, like it was on Pro Street pretty much. Something like that would be pretty cool. Make it more cinematic and like move around like really clunky, like it did on Most Wanted 2005. It just had that really gritty feel with the camera. I liked it. Over the comments of the previous video, something that's been brought up is being able to remove parts like you do in the glitch. Now, as awesome as that would be, it's also probably not actually ever going to happen, or at least for the foreseeable future, because of the fact that if you can remove parts, the car has to be 100% modeled underneath. And generally in games, they cut corners with modeling cars because they just generally don't need to show underneath, you know? It just means there's less to render on screen, and it means less work to put into the cars overall. It's just a win-win in every situation. But it does mean if we go and say, oh, we want to remove parts, it means the engine blocks aren't right and people will complain. And I think there'll be more complaints overall if we can remove parts than if we can't. Though, I'm going to be trying to glitch my way to remove parts still, you know. Oh, another really awesome one I thought about recently. Okay, so this one got me quite excited. I loved in Most Wanted, I don't know if you could do it in Most Wanted actually, Underground. In Underground, you could change the color of your lights. Now, I want to see that back again. Now, what I mean is not just changing the bulb color. I want to be able to change the bulb color to whatever we want. Maybe like, you know, different colors of the spectrum and choose which one we want. But also the actual color of the bulb, so that how much, like, what light it emits. I guess changing the casing of it would change the light that's emitted. But the main thing I want to see is being able to tint the actual outside of it and the bulb different colors. Because I would like to black out my lights, for example, at the back. And obviously them still light up normally, like red. And then at the front, maybe I want the casing to kind of match the color of my car, like maybe black it out, but then the light still comes through like yellow or blue or whatever I want it to be. This is one thing I saw, and I kind of should have included this in the progression video or the features video. I mean, I guess I could still do a progression video at some point. If you want to see that, let me know down in the comments. But I would really like to see us be locked out of cars again. Now, for some people, don't put a lot of time into games like we do. A lot of us here will be like the hardcore, because that's why you're on a video talking about what things we want to see, and you're commenting down below right now what you want to see. Is anyone actually commenting when I said that? Because that would be kind of scary, wouldn't it? But let's face it, if you're not enjoying a story too much, and usually at the beginning some stories don't work out too well and later down the line they get better or something like that, to get me more invested in a story, lock away some of the higher end kit. I know that sounds like some people might not agree with that, but I said in the previous video, giving people impound strikes and stuff, it strives you to actually go back and do, you know, get that thing back. Whereas this, it means, okay, I don't have this unlocked, I'm going to progress so I get my favorite car. That, in my opinion, just adds to the idea of being able to, like, pushing people to go through the story and make the most of the game. Because some people will jump on the game, drive around, and then be done with it and sell it, you know? And then someone else is going to buy the pre-owned copy. Do you want that, Ghost? No. You don't. Actually give us good progression. I mean, Need for Speed had good progression in the last one. I just want it to be a step further in locking out of cars, and when you complete a certain mission, then you basically give us the car. I just think that's how it should be. Like, some guy maybe in the story loves his classic muscle cars, and once you do races for him a little bit, you unlock classic muscle cars. Something like that would be fantastic. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any comments on whatever episode you want to see in the comments, let me know. And also, obviously, let me know down in the comments what you want to see customization-wise. That would be useful. All right, be sure to leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.